Why do people confuse step 6? Welcome again to another episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast, where we encourage you to laugh every day, to work hard in relationships, work hard in recovery, work hard in your jobs, business, school, just work. And to love unconditionally, just put much more love out there and watch much more love return. Remember, recovery is beautiful. Your EQ is your IQ, and you cannot outthink an emotional issue. Now, what we are encouraging people to do is to go to the website, Is Wonderful.Love, LOVE, download the Recovery Growth Scorecard, where you learn how to really improve 12-step meeting participation. Also to get that natural dopamine, natural endorphins, natural serotonin, and of course, natural oxytocin. So then your brain can start to heal. See, the whole idea of the scorecard is to heal the brain, to start the road of recovery, so then you can live your best life. The link is in the show notes. Now, let's jump in to this week's episode. The essence of step 6, self. Now, the way the original step is written, it just talks so much about character defects and what you need to avoid anger. And you need to improve upon all your negative defects. And that is the worst piece of advice I could ever give anybody in 12-step rooms, in therapy, if you went to a treatment center. Your problem is not your character defects. Your problem is that you do not really understand your own character. How are you improving your character? How are you understanding yourself, your foundation? It is clearly written in any 12-step literature that your biggest work, your most challenging work, and the work that will give you sustainability in recovery is about your character traits and your spiritual principles, which are the same. When you try to understand honesty, hope, faith, courage, perseverance, discipline, service of others, awareness of God, these are the basis of who we are. Now, there's other character traits that make us individuals and that really can change who we are, as we always have different forms of excitement or motivations throughout our life. And like for me, the biggest one that I've been cultivating for the last 15 years is much more curiosity as well as my creativity. Now, you've got to understand yourself. See, I'm a big believer is after I understand my own ideas of honesty, and honesty to me, and this is, I always give out honesty questions for free, is that do you truly understand yourself, and are you living your truth? That means that you do not shy away of what you like. And that means, number one, in terms of what excites you, what motivates you, what is a big piece of who you are, and how does that drive your work, your relationships, your hobbies, your time. That is what I want someone to know. So if someone really understands who is Hugo currently, it's about recovery, it's about friendships and loving relationships, it's about working out at the gym, it's about podcasting, it's about food adventures, it's about travel adventures, It's about staying healthy, staying vibrant, and anything else that brings me joy. And that is what I truly want people to truly understand is if someone sees you, they know automatically, oh, I know what he's about. I know his history. I know that he speaks Spanish, that he loves basketball, that his alma maters are UT and Rice. And that is who you are. And I need people to really, because that really builds upon the essence of step 6, on the essence, because if you truly understand self, if you truly understand your character, on how hope really works in your life, are you hopeful? Hopeful that things will work out? Do you have faith in your ideas, faith in your skills and talents, faith in the relationships that you are cultivating? You do not live in fear that something negative can happen. Of course, something negative can happen, but the idea is to live in faith that really knows that you're going to have many, many more wonderful days, like life is wonderful, than those negative days. And when you start living in the faith, in hope, in honesty, guess what? You're right. Your character defects go away. You don't live in self-worry. You don't live in procrastination. You don't live in impatience. You don't live in either hatred or arrogance and all those negative aspects of everybody's character that could easily come out if, number one, you're an addict, you have the personality of an addict, you're a complete jerk, and you have unresolved trauma, you have unresolved process of negative feelings from your childhood and adulthood. That is where character defects come out. It comes out from our insecurity and an immaturity. Stop being an immature baby. Stop being irresponsible. Stop being, it's as long as you start doing what you need to do, your character starts getting better. And you don't live in this BS character defects. You live in your truth. Live in the truth. And that's what I would talk about. You've got to live in your self, who you are, define you. That's why it's always important. We go back to step 1. We go back and we talk about your dreams and your goals, because that really can highlight on who you are and what you want to do with your life, which then goes into the essence of all these steps. Like we said, we're going to talk about these 6 steps, the essence of each of these steps. Like we said, number 1 is about change. Put it into your brain that you need to change and start changing. Number 2, find people that are safe, that you can really test ideas, test dreams and goals, and then you kind of move forward. Like I said, step 3 is much more about acceptance. You've now accepted where you are in life and you know what you need to do, and then you can then, move forward. Step 4 is more about that investigation, becoming honest on what has happened in your past and being honest on what needs to happen as you go forward. And then we talk a lot about inclusion in step 5, in being a part of something bigger. And then, of course, step 6 is about self. And we're able to move forward. And you're finally able to be open and vulnerable because of what you've done here in these previous steps. You can work the original steps, but not exactly as the way they're worded, because what it does, it lowers your self-esteem. And the problem with all gamblers, with all alcoholics, with all drug addicts, is when they finally start to address their problems, they have low self-esteem, they've been acting immature, and they have a lot of insecurities. So the whole goal is how do we break away from that? And how do we grow a person up, no matter if they're 22, 36, 44, 59, 66, 78, and grow. Because there is no reason you should not be living your best life when you are just living your truth. But that is understanding yourself and understanding spiritual principles, character traits, understanding of what you need to do in life. With that, remember, life is wonderful. Tap into lifeiswonderful.love website with a lot of excellent information. And we were going to conclude this episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast.